Our data over the years really likes a sweet spot right in the middle of a one pass light system, a two pass light, two pass medium. And to be within those ranges for light, I'm talking about a vertical tillage pass, a soil finisher pass, a cultivator trip through the field, maybe making two of those for that two pass light.
$7.7 billion were added to the Illinois economy because of grain trade. That's a really big number. Additionally, we had 28,000 jobs added to the state of Illinois because of grain trade. That is just Illinois. That's not even looking at the entire United States.
So can you tell us a little bit more for people that aren't chemistry minded like myself, what Bluestem is and what it can produce?
Yeah, well, first off, Haley, thank you so much for having me. Bluestem, at our core, Bluestem Biosciences, we're based in Omaha, Nebraska. We are a renewable chemical company. So we started with the thesis that you could derive a lot of value from existing ethanol infrastructure in the Midwest, utilizing the best feedstock there is, corn, to create chemicals other than ethanol.
So your daughter has diabetes, and I know that one of your goals is to have more awareness around that disease. So can you talk a little bit about that and how hard it is on the farm and how you've dealt with it?
Right. So she is a type 1 diabetic, which is different than type 2, but now both are very misunderstood, I feel. They are both, it's potentially genetic. I'm a very healthy eater. I am a very healthy person. My last A1C was high. And because of my genetics, I may end up as a diabetic.
And over the last couple of years, I've transitioned to a role as a specialist in digital agriculture. U of I is really lucky to have an organization here on campus called the Center for Digital Ag, where folks from engineering and the college bases can get together and work jointly on projects. And a lot of those projects need outreach, and they need people with extension background to help get the message out about some of the different work that's going on here at the U of I.
So what was that transition like, going from working more of a corporate role to then being really active on the farm, helping out?
I'm not going to lie,
how was
it was
that?
a little rough. For one, I didn't have the background, didn't know what a lot of things were or why they did a lot of things. And then just a little bit of imposter syndrome, right? I'm not a real farm, I'm not a farmer, I'm not a farm wife.
What do you think are the most important parts of Illinois that you would bring to that office? What do we have here that you're going to be really focused on representing?
Illinois is the heart of the Corn Belt. And I know some people from Iowa will scream at me for saying that, but I believe we are. And I believe that we are the basis, we are the start of corn and grain farming and really of exporting our grain all around the world.
There is some sorghum in the feed rations, but they're doing a lot of experimenting, not only with corn, but with the DDGs. And we were able to visit a laboratory in Saigon.
Our data really backs up the maximum return to nitrogen, the MRTN rate, which is a University of Illinois recommendation. Even this past year, it was 131 to 158, that rate, which is really conservative in a lot of farmers' minds because they're not comfortable using that rate.
Talk to me about your candidacy for National FFA Officer. That is really exciting. What's that involve? And talk to me about that process.
First off, it's just crazy, right? I feel like I'm still the freshman kid walking into my FFA classroom and wait, what events do I want to go to? What do I want to be involved in? And all of a sudden we're talking about national office.
What are one or more of USAPEC's greatest barriers then when you're talking about foreign trade and increasing exports?
Sure. So I would say probably the one that is pretty consistent is protectionism over domestic markets.
We're talking about locks and dams and other infrastructure on the rivers that was built back in the 20s and 30s, right? So, why is the modernization of these locks and dams so crucial for the future of the inland waterway system?
Yeah, like any infrastructure, the older it gets, the more expensive it is to maintain. And at some point, you just can't keep throwing good concrete on top of bad concrete.
Well, farmers know that they're generating tons of data yield monitors, soil tests, as applied maps from all the equipment. So how do we get value out of that? And it's almost becoming too much for a person to take the time to analyze. And a lot of farmers don't have somebody on their farm that has that expertise.
Do you have any cooking tips for people that might be interested in like meal prepping for field meals?
I love doing freezer meals. So it's basically like everything that you need to make the meal, put in a bag, and then you pop it in the freezer for later.
Once we figure out our equipment, our timings, there's a lot to manage cover crops. Over the next few years, we can start pushing it a little bit further, starting to incorporate other species such as legumes and brassicas, so crimson clover, hairy vetch, things that'll fix nitrogen, with things that'll break up compaction like rapeseed, turnips, radish. So we diversify after a period of time.
So is there any big projects that you're working on in this digital space that you can share with our farmers?
Sure. One of the ones that there's a whole lot of things that are coming out of the AI Institute, AI Farms Institute here at the U of I. And one of those that's being tested right now, a lot of farmers may have heard about ChatGPT, an AI tool that you can talk to and help get answers from.
There is a Mexico storage program that we have started there. And so having a better understanding of how to properly store corn in very like hot, humid, environments and in weather is really interesting. And that project's going on in Mexico as well, because of course the temperatures there are quite different than in Illinois.